What's going on, everybody? It's a fun video today. It's the maxillary artery and its branches. It's a long group of branches, so let's get started. So here's my mnemonic. Damn, I am pissed drunk, but stupid drunk I prefer. Must phone Alcoholics Anonymous. And I drew my little drunkard. It's me on the weekend. And there's 3 different groups because there's so many. So it's going to be split up. But I think there's like 17, so it is a lot. So we're going to split it up in 3 portions. So the first third is the mandibular portion. Mandibular, think of our mandible. So what's going to be there? Damn, I, A. So the A part of the am. So D is for deep auricular. Auricular ear, deep auricular. Second portion is anterior tympanic. Think of our tympanic membrane, a part of the ear as well. So we have our deep auricular and our anterior tympanic. And then we're going to have our middle meningeal. So damn is done. Middle meningeal. Look at our guy. He's drunk. Damn. Middle meningeal. Deep auricular, anterior tympanic, middle meningeal. Now we have our inferior alveolar. Inferior alveolar. Think of our tongue. Alveolar. So damn, I am, A now is for our accessory meningeal, and we are not going to be able to see this on the diagram, but that's okay. Accessory meningeal, it just comes, it's close, it runs close to the middle meningeal, which is much smaller, much smaller. So let's kind of figure this out on the diagram. Let's give ourselves some landmarks. So we know where the teeth are. We know where that kind of ear or tympanic membrane's at. So let's go. Okay, so this first one I'm drawing yellow here. That one is going to be our D for deep auricular, and it looks kind of like it's going towards the ear. So deep auricular. Then the second one we're going to draw, so DA. A is going to be our anterior tympanic. Deep auricular. Come on, Adam. So then a little bit more posterior to the deep auricular will be our anterior tympanic, because that's going up and it's going to fuel our tympanic membrane, which is our eardrum. Then we're going to have the middle meningeal. So it sounds weird because it's not in the middle of the 3, but middle meningeal. Let me give you a cue of where the other meningeal arteries are. This one on the bottom going to the tongue, inferior alveolar. That makes sense. This is just a reference point, so this is our external carotid artery. So external carotid artery, which is coming off our common carotid artery. It bifurcates and goes into the internal and external carotid arteries. That guy right there is our maxillary artery, and that's where all these branches are kind of coming from. I believe that top hole right there is supposed to be the internal carotid artery, but it doesn't look right, so I'm gonna keep it the way it is right now. So that's done with the first portion. So like I said, there's 3 portions. So that was the first of our third. That was our mandibular portion. Now let's look at our second portion, or our second third, which is probably the easiest of the 3. So this one's gonna be in pink. So there's gonna be M, pissed drunk, but this is gonna be our pterygoid section. So the M is gonna be what? It's going to be our masseteric, so our masseteric branch. Our masseteric branch is probably the hardest of the bunch of this one. Then we're going to have our pterygoid, because that makes sense because we're in the pterygoid section. Pissed drunk, so we're going to have our deep temporal. Then my favorite of the bunch is our buccal. Buccal, however you want to say it, buccal. So that's cheek. That's going to supply like our buccinator. It's our cheek muscles. So this first one right here is going to be our masseteric, and it's kind of cool because it goes right after our first section. So this is our masseteric, and then now we're going to do I am pissed drunk. So P, it's our pterygoid. That's going to be those guys right there. It's going to go through the pterygoid. No, it's not going to go through the pterygoid foramen. Each of these are going through a foramen. So, but those are our pterygoid arteries right there. They're kind of poking out. They're right after the M, like our mnemonic says. Then we're going to have our tympanic. No, my bad, temporal. our anterior and posterior deep temporal artery, because it's going right next to our temple. Excuse me. So our deep temporal artery. So damn, I am pissed drunk. Butt. So butt is for buccal. It's my favorite. So buccal. It's going right where the cheek's at. And keep in mind that the facial artery also has buccal branches coming off of it. So we finished our second portion, or our second half, our second quarter, or however you want to split that. Now let's do our third of the third, which is going to be our pterygopalatine section. So pterygopalatine, and this one's probably the longest and hardest of our drunk maxillary branches. So our first one, on my screen, first one's going to be our Sphenopalatine. So that's off the stupid, so stupid Sphenopalatine. Then we're going to have our descending Palatine. This one we cannot see in the diagram, so I'm starring it. But it kind of just goes close to where the Sphinopalatine's at. Then we're going to have our infraorbital, orbital for eye. We'll have our pharyngeal, there needs to be a Y there, pharyngeal. And this one we cannot see as well, not on the diagram at least. So we will not be able to see the pharyngeal artery or branch. So damn, I am pissed drunk. But stupid drunk I prefer. Must for our middle superior alveolar. So middle superior alveolar. We've already had our inferior alveolar. So if there's a middle, that means we need maybe a superior or an anterior and posterior. So must phone, P for phone, so posterior superior alveolar. So we have our inferior done. Now we're having our superior. But there's a middle, so that signals to us that there's a posterior and anterior portion. So it's posterior superior alveolar. And then, so we're also going to have our anterior superior alveolar. And we have one more. So Alcoholics Anonymous. Anonymous for our artery of our pterygoid canal. And don't confuse this with our pterygoid artery. They are different. So this is the artery over the pterygoid canal. I say pterygoid because the P is silent, just like in pterodactyl. So pterygoid, not pterygoid, pterygoid. So artery of pterygoid canal, and we cannot see that. That's why I'm going to star that one. So damn, I am pissed drunk, but stupid drunk I prefer. Let me see where I can move this. There we go. Cool. So let's start this one up. There's our Sphenopalatine. Sphenopalatine is going to be right there. And then our descending palatine is kind of going down with it. It might be that light section right there. That might be actually the descending. If you see it right under the green, that one that kind of goes down with no arrow to it, that one might be the descending. This one right here, right under the eye, what could it be? Infraorbital, of course, because inferior, infraorbital. And that's going through the infraorbital foramen, if you guys were curious. So we have a D and I. Damn, I am pissed drunk, but stupid drunk I prefer. P. Oh no, is that our middle? Okay, no, okay, so that's our middle alveolar. Damn, I am pissed drunk, but stupid drunk I prefer. Must call. No, must phone. Middle. That's gonna be our middle superior alveolar. And it's also going to have that little branch on the side is the middle one. The one that goes kind of right here is going to be our anterior superior alveolar. I'm doing that in dark green so you guys can see it better. And then this one right here is going to be our posterior superior alveolar. Posterior superior alveolar. So cool. And that kind of sums it up. I think that, yeah, so that looks good. So I'm just gonna give you guys a little cue. So that one, I know it looks like it's something, but that's either our mental artery or our nasopalatine arteries. That's not a part of our maxillary branches. That's why I'm not kind of drawing that one in. And then the arteries looking like they're coming off the top over there on the right side is not it as well. So they're not a portion. So cool, thanks.